What's up,
My
everybody?
bad.
Welcome back to the 515 Sports Podcast. Myself, Beirman, joining you for another week talking college hoops. As you can tell, same guys, different location for one of us, but same good stuff. So,
You got some great lighting there, bud.
yeah, thanks. It's really
Your eyes
good.
are really bright there.
Really good. So, hey, this is a one-time thing. So, anyways, Final Four set on both sides, men's and women's. Final Four set. Honestly, pretty good matchups on both. I'll just say I'm way more excited for the women's Final Four. I've been way more excited for the women's tournament in general. But both Final Fours honestly should be pretty electric. I guess you want to start with the women's or the men's? What side do you want to start with?
Let's just start with the men's, just because that one happened before the women's. Yep. I mean, you mentioned it during our Selection Sunday podcast. And I'll mention that later. We can talk about the Sweet 16 games. I will say that there were some very, very good games, and I will say that some of the close games, though, were not so entertaining. The Iowa State and Illinois game was actually kind of disappointing, I'm not going to lie. More on the side of Iowa State just not really performing to the level that they probably expected to. They did put up a 43-point second half, but that wasn't good enough to beat Illinois, as Illinois was able to pull out with a 3-point win. Curtis Jones was the lead guy for the Cyclones in that, but unfortunately, you got, players like Shannon and Hawkins for Illinois that were able to pretty much pick up the slack for the Illinois team fighting Illini. They didn't play terrible. Shannon had 4 fouls, but still almost put up 30 points. Yeah. That's impressive. And proof to you, and I will say you're right, that defense doesn't win championships, I guess.
I was just about to say, hey, Brock, you remember a graphic that looks like this? If you remember watching last week, we had a Ken Palm graphic up that showed like offense versus defense and where teams. Yeah, there we go. This graphic right here.
It's upside down. I'll fix that.
That upside down graphic. Brock will get it back up here. But yeah, this graphic right here. I mean, just look at it, right? Obviously, NC State's an outlier, and you're going to have some of those. But look at your Final Four teams. Alabama, okay, are on offense. Purdue, okay, yeah, they're pretty good on offense. Oh, UConn, yeah, they're pretty good on offense, and then NC State. But I really need a Duke to complete the circle here of proof. But
it's okay. It's okay. There's always outliers in science.
There's always outliers. And you know what? That's what makes it March, right? There's not outliers. If that was the case, man, I might pick my bracket off that every year. But I think what this does show, like, look at Purdue and Tennessee, right? They played. Tennessee has one guy that can get buckets. Tennessee has so little guys that can get buckets that Creighton Triangle and two them. In the freaking Elite Eight, you were running Triangle and two. Like, that is absurd. And I promise you ain't practicing Triangle and two very much at your walkthroughs and your scout. So the fact that you're just like, hey, we're gonna whip this out right now is insane. But
it's kind of
a good hooper. So
referring to this graphic that you got right here, it's actually kind of unfortunate that Houston also lost. Of course, they played Duke because I still think that Houston probably would have won if
agreed
Shed wasn't hurt. I think that injury actually was pretty much the nail in the coffin for them. Duke didn't impress me all year. They were just kind of meh. I will say that I had people that picked them in the Final Four, which actually helped them in the pools and ranking wise or whatever in my family for fun league that we do, because I had Houston winning it all. And that one injury really, really, really hurt me. I'm not going to lie. There weren't a ton of great moments from the Sweet 16 games, or there hasn't been a lot of and maybe it's because there isn't a lot of star power this year. And that's why the women's game has kind of stood out a little more when it comes to moments this tournament. But there hasn't been I can't wait. Years from now, I'm going to remember this play, or, I'm going to remember this game.
Right.
Compared to the first and second round, because Creighton, Oregon, I'm going to remember that one for a while. That
was
was
a great game. was a great game.
There were some great first round games. This year is
Oakland
kind of
game.
weird because like everybody was kind of expecting it to be like just unbelievable moments everywhere, and like there's been a lot of blowouts.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because you watch UConn, who's like just blowing everybody out, and those are the games you tune in for, especially now when there's less and less teams. You have less and less games to watch, and when you have a team consistently blowing everybody out, it's just insane how that works. Yeah,
Shot smart though. Can't get over that hump, man.
and it's, I mean, so as much as we talk about that graphic, right, as I like to talk about that graphic right there, you still got to make the shots, right? And you can't shoot. What did Marquette shoot from three that game? Like 16% from three or something. Like I think it was the worst shooting
12.9.
Okay.
They went 4 of 31.
Yeah, so I don't care how good at offense you are. If you go 4 for 31 from three, you probably ain't winning. Like if Alabama goes 4 for 31 from three, they're not going to win. But they just don't. Like they go because that's how you train your team to go. And Alabama has a poor shooting half against Clemson in the first half, but then they turn it around in the second half. So I think offense will win you championships. There's a reason why teams that have great defenses never really win championships, in my opinion. You look at that Houston, they have such a good defense, but you also look at that graph that was there. Look at where their offense was at, right? They were right in the middle. And I honestly think you'd rather sit right in the middle than way on the left.
Yep.
So, I mean, again, it just depends on everything that happens if you're looking at that graph. But it is interesting to me to see that 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams are rocking in the plus offense minus defense, if not plus. But if you're plus, you're a good team. You're UConn, right? Even UConn is not at the top of the defense, right? So,
and you know who let both of us down? Who's in that?
Who's surprised?
That green zone? Arizona.
Well, and so I laugh. You watch that Arizona game. You want to talk about, if you want to counter my points of offense, just watch that Arizona Clemson game. They didn't play any defense. You have to play some defense, right? You can't just play zero defense, but you can't play only defense. You mean Arizona's got people out there that look like they're not even trying on defense. And I'll be honest, there's people that just look like they aren't even trying on defense. That's not going to win you games.
And I mean, that's kind of what Illinois looked like in that Elite Eight game against UConn. Well, I mean, They also missed, 21 layups. I know a lot of people were flaming Iowa State for missing some of their wide open layups. There's one from Keyshawn Gilbert. What do you remember what your high school coach used to say when it comes to doing layups or going over the front of the rim?
Yeah, backboard or dunk?
Yeah. Keyshawn chose neither.
Yeah, I've never been able to understand like the jelly finger roll, because half the time you could just flip your wrist and dunk it, and the other half just bank it in. Like I really don't understand the lay me finger roll.
Yeah, and I will say, if that was me in that position, 1, can't jump as well as he can, so there's no way I'm getting over the front of the rim. 2, if I probably used the backboard, I probably still would have missed. So I can't really judge him for kind of missing that shot because, again, high bang, quick fast break play, quick decisions. But, Sweet 16, you already made it there. You kind of established yourself as one of the top teams, and you were a 2 seed. It's kind of hard to come up with like a excuse, I guess, as to why you may have missed that, if that makes sense. But no, just I don't know. I'm not shocked by this Final Four. I will say, of course, the one team that we got that is a shock is that team that's in the red zone from that graphic with NC State being terrible at both offense and defense, according to that graphic that you provided last week for us. 11 seed makes it to the tournament thanks to the conference tournament, and now is in the Final Four. Beats Duke out as well, a fellow ACC team along the way. Have beat some really good teams, actually, on their road to the Final Four. You mentioned it during Selection Sunday, and this is what I was referring to at the beginning of the episode. The last team to win 5 games in 5 days in the conference tournament won the national championship, and that was the UConn Huskies of 2014, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh gosh, it's already been 10 years.
I think that's funny to me because I was laughing like the first day of the tournament. CBS with Ernie and all them ran a graphic of a graphic like a little segment of, oh, these are the teams that can win the national championship. If you've lost 5 times in a row, you can't win the national championship. Okay. If you've done this, and this, you can't, like Xing out teams to trust it based on trends and things that have happened over the years. Or, if you're below a 9 seed, you can't win because nobody below a 9 or an 8, whatever it is, has never won. Something like that, right? So I was laughing because in theory, you should if you're doing like based off things that have happened, you should pick NC State and Purdue to win the national championship because the only team that's ever lost to a 16 seed won the national championship the next year, Virginia. That team lost in the conference semifinals of their conference tournament, had 29 wins before March Madness started, was ranked number 1 in the final. All of these things happen. Okay, that was literally where Purdue's at. The only team to win 5 games in 5 straight days won the national championship, aka UConn. NC State did that. So in theory, you should pick NC State to win. And lo and behold, both of the teams are in the Final Four. Coincidence? Yeah, I think so. But maybe not, right? Maybe from now on, if a team has won 5 games in 5 straight days in the conference tournament to make the tournament, you just pick them to the Final Four.
And I will say, you look at the Final Four, you mentioned, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second there. You mentioned just trends and stuff like that. We mentioned no team that lost their opening round of their conference ends up winning the national championship. Well, none of those teams are in the Final Four.
Right. I mean, that's a trend, obviously, right? That is, lo and behold, been around for a lot longer than, if you've lost to a 16 seed, that's only happened one time, right? So, we'll have to see what happens. But I got one thing I will say about the men's Final Four in basketball in general. Can people please understand the 3 seconds in the lane rule? Like, can we please, as a basketball community, can we please wise up and understand the 3 second in the lane rule in college? If you have 1 foot in the lane and 1 foot out of the lane, the count doesn't start. So at all of the people that are complaining about Edey being in the lane for 10 years, if he's got 1 foot out of the lane,
he's good.
He's good. But we don't, as a basketball community, understand that rule enough. And it's not really people's fault because, in all honesty, it's different at every level. Like high school, you have to have both feet out. If you have 1 foot in, it counts. On the women's side, if you have 1 foot in, it counts. So why it's different on both, I don't know. But on the men's side, if you have 1 foot out of the lane, the 3 seconds doesn't count. And so that's my plea to anyone who watches this, that watches college basketball. Please understand the 3 second in the lane rule.
Can't agree more. And I guess, like maybe for some reason people get it twisted because they watch, high school sports or the women's game. But Edey isn't really doing anything wrong.
Well, and I think there's other rules. Like, I think there's people that just watch basketball that don't quite understand it. And that's okay. Like, I'm not hating on you for that. It's a thing that happens because we don't do enough to acknowledge those rules. Like, they changed the over the back rule. So you actually can never go over the back anymore. Like, that's not a foul. Over the back is not a foul anymore.
But it was never really a foul.
Right. It's now just push. So, like, if you push, that's what it is. If you just jump higher, you're not really going over the back.
And if you box out someone who's in midair, that's a foul on you now.
Yeah, right. So the people that complain for over the back in 3 seconds, like, again, sometimes you just get riled up and heat in the moment. I get it. But those things are rules that I don't think people have done a good enough job at explaining to the general public that we get confused sometimes.
Yeah, and so obviously we got our Final Four set for the men's tournament. I think the women's tournament is finishing up here. We're recording here on a Monday night. We're recording 2 episodes because we both are crazy schedules this week. So this was literally the only time that we could record our 2 episodes that we're wanting to have. We'll have one out later this week. This one will probably be live here on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then the following one either that Wednesday or Thursday as well. But let's just get right into, looking at the Final Four. We got Purdue versus NC State. We mentioned the 2 teams that you probably wanted to take when you're looking at the trends that, CBS mentioned.
Right.
Right now, Purdue is about 8.5, 9.5 point favorite. I will say that's actually, in my opinion, if you would have said that these 2 teams would have matched up in the Final Four, that the spread would only be less than 10,
So
I would have
10,
told you, I would be like, there's no way.
Yeah.
However, this NC State team is playing some decent ball.
Yeah, they're an interesting team to watch because, I keep going back to that graphic. But if you go back to that graphic and it's minus, right? When they're in the NCAA tournament, though, the second half against Duke, they weren't a negative offense team. They were a positive offense team, right? And I think that's what makes March so awesome is that it is one game. Like, you can turn it around in one game. And I was listening to Kevin Keats talk, and he was talking about his thoughts on his defense and everything. And he said they try to get 40 deflections a game. They weren't getting that. And all of a sudden they started getting that. The last time they hadn't got 40 deflections in the game was the game before the ACC tournament. Every game since, they've had 40 deflections in the game. Look at that. They've won every game, right? So obviously he knows
for a lot of those against Purdue because you know where the ball's going.
You do. And will you be able to stop it? I don't know, because I will say if the refs need to let them play, if we got to watch a big boy grilling on the roof contest get ruined because we get fouls, I will be a little salty.
The thing I've realized is that, actually, is it just me or does Edie actually struggle sometimes against smaller teams?
It depends. I think NC State might be in a little trouble because they can't really do anything to counter Edie, if that makes sense. Like, Burns can take you out on the perimeter and play, but he can't take you out on the perimeter. Like, he can take you out on the 15-foot midi range, but Edie can guard that. Like, they don't have anybody that can stretch it. Like, Middlebrooks, I don't think really is going to stretch it enough. But I'm interested to see how it goes, because every time you count this NC State team out, it seems like every round, maybe besides even that Oakland round, and that was honestly their toughest game they've had. Like, you just it ends here, and it just never does. So maybe the fact that, hey, it ends here, it just maybe won't.
And I mean, the only reason I say that is the few games I watched Purdue, in some of the games that they've lost are against teams that don't necessarily have someone that matches up well against Edie. So I don't know. Maybe it's, being able to deflect the ball when they try to get it inside of him, or maybe stripping the ball away from him. I mean, Fairleigh Dickinson, they had no height and somehow were able to beat the number 1 seed last year. So that's just something I'd keep an eye on. DJ Burns obviously is probably going to be someone that has a heavy amount of impact when it comes to how they can control Edie. But at this point, if any team could pull it off, that's not named UConn. It's probably this NC State team.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the NC State team, good team. I really, I think the dream ends.
You think Purdue wins as well?
Unfortunately for them, I think Purdue wins. And I also, man, I really want to see Purdue UConn.
Yep.
I really want to see that game.
Okay. So I said that it was kind of a nice gesture for the Bucks to give NC State only a 8.5, 9.5 underdog.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the current spread is for the Bama game?
I do not.
Take a guess.
UConn 6.5.
More.
Like a lot. 13.
11.5. So they have UConn that big of a favorite compared to NC State over Purdue. That shows you how big of a deal these people are looking at this UConn team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know me and you, we've talked about UConn a lot.
Yeah.
Over text messages. And I sent you one. I said that this run, if they end up pulling this off and win another national championship, it would be the first back-to-back national championship since the Florida Gators, led by Brewer, Noah, Horford.
Yeah, Joakim. I used to be Joakim Noah in my driveway. That was my guy.
You shooting free throws like him?
I used to stand in the back corner of my driveway and 5, 4, 3, Joakim Noah, 2, 1.
You shoot free throws like him though?
No. I don't know why I tried to be Joakim Noah. I'm not he's not even left-handed or shot. I don't know what I was doing. But anyways.
But like I said, that this win, if they win the national championship, they're already blue blood. We all know that. They're honestly, if you combine men's and women's basketball, they're the mecca of college basketball.
Yeah,
You can make an
absolutely. If you
argument.
combine
Like,
them, I mean, Tennessee's your only even remotely other close.
Yep. And so this win would, in my opinion, with this new era, because I feel like we're still establishing who are the new blue bloods of this era of the transfer portal.
Yep.
UConn winning this year would become the Duke, North Carolina, or Kansas of this next generation. Probably more Duke, because what Hurley's got going on with this Huskies team, I don't think they're stopping anytime soon.
And I laugh too because I think a lot of people, you talk about Hurley, you can't coach people hard anymore. You watch Dan Hurley coach.
He's probably coaching players harder than Izzo is right now. I'm sorry. You see him coaching, it looks like he literally wants to punch someone.
And they're winning, and he doesn't have people transferring that much.
His players are buying in.
Yep,
people are begging to go to UConn. I'm telling you, like, this is a big deal. Like, I don't think people are realizing that this win is establishing who is the dog in college basketball.
And I think that's why people, when Cooper Flag committed to Duke over UConn, was such a big thing, just because Shire was actually able to get him. Obviously, that's off like a little bit of a side tangent, but the fact that, one of the best players we've seen in high school in a long time went to Duke over that UConn team, I think says a lot about Duke. But back on that UConn train, you're right. People just want to play for him. And he's not like good try, guys. Like, no, he ain't doing that.
You missing shots, your butt's on the bench.
Right. And he's not afraid to sub you.
Yeah. I'm not saying that Duke isn't going to be a part of that crew of blue bloods that's going to be ushering in the new era, because they're establishing themselves as well. And fortunately for them, they have former players who kids are getting ready to enter the college game. I am pretty sure at least a Boozer or two is probably going to end up there in the next year or so.
I could see it.
But so Duke will be in that conversation as well. But UConn right now has a chance to establish themselves as the team in the men's side of college basketball in this new era of the transfer portal, new era of NIL. It's a huge, huge deal, because it's like, oh, they're winning and there's an opportunity to potentially make money. Not saying that these people are making a bunch of money, but there's no way that they're winning national championships and these guys are not getting good deals.
Yep, it's real, promise. And I think okay, then I will say this about this UConn Alabama game, if we're gonna get into that.
Yep,
Alabama can get them, because Alabama can get hot. Alabama can get hot, and that bring up the graph again. Sometimes, what's that saying? Sometimes good offense just beats good defense. It's tough to do that for 40 straight minutes. But
I just don't think they match up well.
Agreed. And UConn's also tough because they're so big. And I think that's what we talked about, that Iowa State Illinois game. That's why I wasn't certain, but I was pretty sure that Illinois was going to win that game, solely because Iowa State's defense is good, but Illinois' offense is really good, and they're so big. Everybody's above 6'6". I don't think that's the case. I think everybody's above 6'6" at UConn, but it's pretty close. And if you have size, like, that just makes up for so much stuff. But you're looking at Alabama. Mark Sears is a hooper. That guy is so fun to watch. Real good player, gets buckets, and for being short, if you're like a short guy wanting to watch how to hoop, watch Mark Sears. He's a really good player. But will the guys on Alabama be able to hang around with Klingon? I think that's probably going to be the key.
I'm buying into these lines. I'm not going to lie. I think that the NC State Purdue game might be closer.
I do too. I honestly do too, because Purdue's not a team that's going to smoke you. Like, they just never have been. And that's why, like, they got in trouble with FDU last year. Like, I mean, they were not beating Grambling by too much right away. But they're just not a team that's really going to come out and destroy you. They will over time, but like, I could see, and NC State's good enough that if you let them hang around, they might, okay, we can hang and see what happens.
And we won't preview the assumed national championship of Purdue, right. UConn. If that happens, we'll do a quick podcast, maybe Sunday or something like that, and then we can talk about it. But so we both have Purdue and UConn beating their respective opponents in NC State and Alabama. If you had to pick an upset, who would you pick?
I actually think I'd pick Alabama.
Okay, because I think NC State would be the team. I just don't think anybody's touching UConn.
I don't either, but like I said, I think Alabama could get hot enough that they could maybe do it. But that is why I want to see Purdue play UConn, because I do think Purdue could get UConn solely because they match up pretty well with them. Not as deep, but they actually like. I hope that's the national championship, because I think that'd be a really good matchup just to see.
That's what the NCAA wants. I'm telling you. If it's NC State Alabama, dude, the numbers won't.
If it's Purdue UConn, that game will deliver.
Yep. So that's the men's side. I mean, if we want to switch over to the women's side.
Speaking of delivering,
dude, I mean, the game, one of the final game of Monday night's doubleheader just wrapped up here, and UConn was able to end Max's dreams of Juju in the final.
Juju, I still love you. Fight on.
Okay, she had 29 points, 10 rebounds. Not
Juju,
a bad
you know
show.
who Juju reminds me of?
Who?
Carmelo at Syracuse.
Give
her the rock, man.
I like that. That's a good comparison right there. Unfortunately, though, falls to UConn and Paige Beckers, man. I'm telling you. I mean, probably the biggest Paige Beckers fan in the state of Iowa.
Well, actually, Bree Lewerke, she might give you a run for her money.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. She live in the state of Iowa?
Yeah,
I thought she lives in Minnesota.
Okay. I think she lives in Minnesota now. She's from Mason City, though.
She's not in Iowa no more.
All right. My apologies.
But no. All I have been wanting, everybody was like talking about, okay, we can get into the game as well. LSU versus Iowa. Iowa ends up winning 94-87. Except for maybe 15 minutes of the game, I don't really think LSU stood a chance.
Maybe the worst game plan I've ever seen.
Yep. But real quick, everybody was wanting Clark versus Reese, Bluter versus Mulkey, version 2, national championship rematch.
I just wanted UCLA.
Yeah, you wanted UCLA. But I told you, the NCAA wants what the NCAA wants, and they get what they want.
You called it.
So they got this rematch. That is not. I get the point of, oh, she did the taunting thing. You can't see me in the national championship last year. That was cool. Okay. But if you know, you know. By the way, anyways,
you can't see me.
Back to the game from last year. The thing I didn't like about this whole hype is, like, first of all, the media made it look like the LSU were like terrible people. Okay. Kim Mulkey, I have opinions on her, won't say anything. Everybody on the team, though, don't have an issue with, because they're good for the sport.
Yeah.
Angel Reese is a huge part of this growth of the women's game.
Yeah.
Whether you want to admit it or not, Clark has had more of an impact for sure. But Angel has had a huge impact to this game. But that was not the matchup that I was wanting when I saw this tournament come out. The one matchup I wanted to see is the actual matchup where I think these two people will be defending each other multiple times throughout the game.
Maybe, yeah.
Paige Beckers versus Caitlin Clark is must-see TV. Everything that I wanted, because people forget, Paige Beckers won National Player of the Year over Caitlin Clark their freshman year, because I think those two were the two finalists, or the top two vote getters.
Could have been. I'm not sure. It was a while ago, but it could have been.
2021. It's been a while. But anyways, of course, Becker's career has kind of went up and down since then with injuries, which have made people forget how good of a freaking basketball player she is. Tonight, she put up 28 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists against USC. Got the dub.
USC is big. Like, they're all around large people. Like, they are not small.
Got the dub. And she's been doing this all tournament long. Like, the NCAA tournament that she's had is one for the history books. I mean, first round, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. Second round, 32 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Sweet 16, 24, 5, 1, and 3, and then 2 blocks. And then tonight, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. So she has
some
been
light.
just balling. But like she's been doing that all year, and it's been quiet because Caitlin Clark,
Yep.
LSU, that's what everybody wanted. They got that. Good for them. I'm happy everybody got the dream matchup they wanted.
Yeah.
This is the real dream matchup that people should be caring about. Because these two, in my opinion, are going to be the ones that are carrying the sport for the next decade or so.
Well, I think it's good too because Caitlin's leaving, right? So I think especially tonight or Monday night, whatever you want to view, like Juju is the future. Juju's got the most points in freshman scoring record, right? So she's already on pace to beat Caitlin. And like I said at the beginning of the year, I think she's going to beat Caitlin. I think she's going to be better than Caitlin by the time it's all said and done. Might not be as flashy, but overall better hooper. I think she's close right now, but I also fight on. Like, I think.
So you say that, but like you say that, I'm also willing to say the hot take that Paige. I agree with all the coaches that have said Paige Beckers is the greatest college basketball player in the country right now.
And so that's what we'll see, right? I think that's what's going to be fun. And the matchup itself is interesting because, like you said, they might guard each other a lot, but KK Arnold is an absolute dog on defense. And she guarded Juju tonight, picked up a couple fouls early, kind of got in foul trouble. But she can guard Caitlin. Now, Can anybody really guard Caitlin is the question. But I really think KK Arnold can guard Caitlin Clark.
And the good thing is that, a couple people that can guard her or could keep up with her.
Uh-huh. And the nice thing for UConn is I was not that big. And UConn has size. Like Aaliyah Edwards, also very good player. And will be able to handle Stokey, I think. She should probably be able to take it to Stokey. I think that's where the advantage is.
I was shocked how well Iowa's post players were able to handle Angel Reese when she was posting up. If she was able to get down the court before everybody else, get a quick pass, she's able to get a layup.
Yep.
But when she was trying to post up, drive inside, there were some great defensive adjustments to the Iowa defense throughout the game, and they were actually able to prevent her from getting underneath the hoop where she could go underneath on the left side or get a jump hook on the right side.
Yeah.
Credit to Iowa's defense able to adjust because, we talk a lot about their offense. And I mean, I think we talked about that.
Rightfully so.
Yes, rightfully so.
Almost put up 100 tonight.
Yeah.
Although still worst game plan I've ever seen.
Yes. But like we talked about like the Drake game or whatever earlier this year where like did they give up 100 or almost gave up 100?
It was close.
And we're like, this defense is not good. Granted, they gave up 87 tonight, but like they did a good job tonight.
Well, yeah, you gave up 87, but you scored 94, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, if you can score points, you can then you're okay to give up points.
I will say that it's going to be hard for them if they lose the rebound battle as bad as they did tonight.
Yeah,
that's the one thing for Iowa that scares me if I'm an Iowa fan. The rebound differential was 54 for LSU and 36 for Iowa.
Well, and again, like I said, not a good game plan. UConn can guard Caitlin, and LSU can guard Caitlin. They just didn't do it. Like, I don't know what the game plan was. And that's why I honestly thought LSU had an advantage because if you stop Caitlin, you're going to be okay. Will UConn be able to do that? I think so. Like, I think UConn will be able to stop her. We'll have to see. But UConn has the horses. And again, if I got to pick between Kim Mulkey and Gino, I'm taking Gino. Like, sorry, LSU people and Kim Mulkey. I'm taking Gino. Like,
there's but okay. Anybody that has an issue with that, there's no debate. I'm sorry.
There's no debate. But again, we'll have to see what happens. But I mean, I really like UConn's chances. I really liked USC's chances. I really liked whoever won that game's chances against Iowa in this coming match. It's not going to be easy by any means, but UConn has a really good. They match up well with Iowa. Iowa is best defenders Gabby Marshall. She doesn't match up well with Paige. Like the matchup's just not very good. So I would assume Kate Martin gets a lot of Paige, or they play a lot of zone, and we'll just have to see what happens. But Aaliyah Edwards will be the key. Obviously, Paige can go for 25 plus. Caitlin will get her 20, 30 plus. But if Aaliyah Edwards can dominate down low, which I know I'm pretty sure she can, and they have another freshman, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. She was 23. Her name, I believe it is. Ice Brady. Sweet first name, all name team. Ice Brady. Lefty. She's big. She can hang. Like I would expect UConn obviously to have an advantage down low, but will they be able to take advantage of having the advantage? Will be the key.
Hopefully, they got the 3-point line situation figured out.
Oh my god! Can we have one thing a year on the women's side that's like not messed up?
So,
like how hard is that?
I saw that they changed it tonight for the UConn game, and it looks so bad. So
but
they
extended
extended the 1 3
option.
point. Yeah, they extended the 1 3-point line that was actually short. And you know what? I don't like Texas, and I know they lost. NC State as well. You know what? Shout out NC State for having both women's teams in the Final Four. First of all, but going back to that, credit to them for just kind of just being like, it is what it is. We have to get through it.
And to be fair, it is fair. Like each team had to play with it the equal amount of time. Like you can't argue against it. But boy, can't have that happen. I mean, come on.
So bad. Dude,
it's just embarrassing. Like it's bad, yes, but it's more so in my opinion, just embarrassing. Like
how do you not notice it before? Like, because they definitely have the court set up in like a warehouse before.
Yeah.
How do you not notice it?
I don't know. It's just embarrassing.
You know what? They will now build those courts and measure them out to make sure.
Yeah. Whoever's that job is never gonna mess that up again.
It's so stupid. For those that didn't know, that there was in the Portland region, 1 3-point line was noticeably shorter than the other one, and only one of them was NCAA women's basketball regulated. So NC State and Texas just played through it. So credit to them for, again, like you said, it's still fair, but like it's still unfortunate at the same time. Hopefully that's fixed for the Final Four, or it will be fixed. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, nobody's messing that up.
But of course, NC State ended up beating Texas. I didn't think Texas was actually going to make it this far, so credit to them. NC State also wasn't a team that I necessarily had in my Final Four, but that was the region that I thought a lot of chaos was going to happen. Me being someone that picked Iowa State to win in the round of 32, making it to the Sweet 16. So NC State able to come out of that crazy side of the bracket, and then South Carolina it was a close game. South Carolina had some scary ones. Are they human?
I mean, I think South Carolina. We've seen South Carolina have really good teams. This is a really good team, but I don't think they're invincible.
They showed that they were human the last 2 games,
and I think
one by what 4? 1 by 4 against Indiana.
We're up 22 too, and then came all the way back, right?
Yep, and then 1 by 12 against 12 or 14. I can't do math. 12. We'll do 12 against Oregon State. So
Oregon State, good program. It's really unfortunate that they're moving to the WCC next year. Like,
they are.
I think so.
Is the whole athletics department?
Well, I think basketball. I'm not quite sure because a lot of the WCC doesn't have football.
I feel bad for Oregon State, and
what's gonna suck is like they've literally made it to the Elite Eight this year. If they have to play in a 1-bid league, bro, they're
gonna have to schedule hard in the non-conference.
Right, and it's so unfortunate because they're such a good team,
But yeah, so South Carolina, NC State on the other side. I still think NC State makes the national. I mean, NC State. I think South Carolina is going to be in the national.
I agree. I think NC State has a. They don't match up well against South Carolina.
I still think it's South Carolina's championship. Really.
I'm honestly going South Carolina, UConn.
I hate you. Quit stealing my stuff.
Dude, I just watch UConn and I watch Iowa, and this is going to be the most matchup team. The team that matches up the best with Iowa they've seen all year.
I'm so excited, man. You have
near West Virginia level, like matchup wise with them.
You have no idea how excited I am for this because
you've been wanting this for not this year, but like
years.
Yeah,
Like last year, I think I even said
and he gets it on like the last chance, like one last opportunity.
Oh, I got so lucky. Like this just everything about it is just perfect for the tournament, the current state of women's basketball, and the future of women's basketball. I'm trying to look up my bracket from last year. Shout out me falling for the taking South Carolina all the way. Where did I have UConn in the Elite Eight? Yeah. Ew. That was bad last year.
Brock just relive his past failures.
I had Iowa State in the Elite Eight. And we lost to Toledo in the first round. That was not good.
Yikes.
So yeah, I had UConn over Iowa State, and then I had Indiana over UConn. Oh God, how bad
what was bro cooking?
UConn lost in the round. Oh yeah, this was bad. Holy.
Don't worry.
No, it was bad. And then the region was South Carolina. Only got one game wrong. Everything else was terrible.
Checks out. That's how brackets go sometimes. But like I said, I think UConn matched up the best with Iowa in terms of teams they've seen this year. I don't know. I mean,
hey, I told you about the last time that both the men's and women's teams for university won, right?
Yeah, you did.
2014, 2004.
Yep.
You know who were the teams? UConn and UConn.
So I mean, this goes back to our trends. We just need anybody but Alabama on the men's side, and we can have a trend. And if we get UConn and there we go. Okay, on the men's side, if anybody, we need UConn on the women's side. Okay, we've got our trends. Alabama, sorry about it. You ain't in it. Let's just.
Hey, even if NC State wins the national title on both sides, that's still consider. I'd still consider that.
We have our things to root for now. We have our rooting interests now. Anything for the trends.
I'm telling you, if it's
analytical guys, Max and Brock.
If UConn wins both of them, which I think
it's possible,
there's a good chance. And honestly, I'm hoping for it on the women's side and the men's side. I'm not gonna lie.
Same.
Out of the 4 teams remaining on both tournaments, UConn on both sides are my favorite teams. And let's be honest, I'm not hiding it that well. I love UConn. It's one of the teams that I support. You know how it is. It's like you with USC. Yeah, I mean, I got that Kemba Walker jersey, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might need to break that out.
I basically turned into a USC guy. Like, honestly, maybe if somebody asks me what my team is, I might start saying USC. Sorry, Northwestern.
You're a big. Hey, it doesn't matter. You're still a Big Ten guy.
Yeah. Hey, fight on. I'm the biggest fight on guy ever now.
All you got to do is go like this, and you're TCU.
Yeah, fight on.
Okay. I don't know why this made me think of.
Oh, you going to the prank video?
No, it has nothing to do with TCU. But yes, it's about April Fools. Okay, so it is April 1st today, guys.
Yeah. This won't get released on April 1st, but that doesn't mean that April Fools ever stops. It's the fools that keeps on giving. The fools that keeps on fooling.
This is what I have an issue with. It's April 1st. Okay, first of all, overtime. Why are you posting that Caitlin Clark was out? It was funny for a second there, but then I thought about the implications of everything.
Yeah. Right. Come
like
on, man.
The financial for some people.
Give me the money.
So I thought it was funny. I was like, oh, I love April Fool's Day. This is great. Then this was posted.
I knew that's where that was going. What is bro cooking?
Dude.
What's up?
These. It's not a day to mess around, okay? You don't just post this.
They got Brock invested.
Look at these.
Brock and his Windhorst. What does this mean?
What does this mean?
Insert Windhorst meme right here, Brock. Man, we got lots of good clips tonight. What does this mean?
Okay. So these are what were posted by Iowa State's football team. And then this was the last photo.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is I think this is what they're doing to try to get people to think it's a joke.
But are they?
I think these are legit. and maybe I'm the biggest freaking fool in the world. I think these are legit. And then someone who's a graphic designer who is an Iowa State alum posted these of what they would look like based off of what he saw in those renderings or photos, depending. Dude, where do I buy
goes kind of hard. Dude, goes pretty hard.
These are freaking amazing.
Yeah, those go pretty hard, I will say. The black one's okay. Like,
I mean,
the black one's okay, but the red one goes hard.
You will never see Iowa State combine any other color with black other than white.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's not much you can do.
Yeah, agree. The red one goes hard.
Dude, the red ones, I would buy these in a heartbeat.
Yeah, those go crazy.
My dad, who doesn't follow football that closely, he's like, "Oh, I see they went with the Melvin Edgem number." I was like, "Oh God,
not right now, man. Not right now. Read the room."
I was like, our quarterback wears 3, right?
Read the room, man. Man, I will say, we've had a lot of good no context 515 Sports Pod posts that we can come out of tonight.
Okay, and then he also, of course, posted this.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not a
fan.
The
red one is better, so the red one's the best one.
Let's be honest, gold just as a simple jersey doesn't look good. But then, okay, I'm not a fan of the tertiary. So then he posted this as that 4th image.
And then Brock was just like fainted from awesomeness.
Bring the dog collar back.
Look at him, he's so excited his answer.
I'm telling you, dude. This is what I'm all in on these jerseys. Give me these. And then these. I call these the Stormtroopers.
Yeah, those ain't bad. I like
Give me the Stormtroopers, man.
Yeah, the Stormtroopers would go hard. The red one's the best. The Stormtroopers are probably my second favorite.
So
how did we get here?
I don't even know. All I'm saying, and I'll leave you.
You don't do this to a guy.
You don't do this on April Fool's. This is not something that you fool around about.
This is not a joke. Is this a joke to you?
Because I'm not gonna lie. Okay, are all reds? Because that's what we normally wear at home. Nah, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
That
goes hard.
This with white pants.
That go dummy. Even one might say that go dummy. That fit go crazy, bro.
So, for all those people that are listening that are working in athletics, because I know everybody's listening.
Yep.
We got millions of people that work in athletics.
And millions.
Do not post potential jersey reveals of any sorts on April 1st. Because that is, dude, I'm honestly, if these are fake, I'm going to be, not saying that this rendering right here is legit, but like, I'm talking about these more specifically. If these are fake,
well, I mean, there's also you have so many of them, right? Like, there's like what?
This doesn't look like AI, and if AI has gotten this good already,
Brock's concerned.
Oh God! By the way, why haven't I liked this? There we go. We're gonna just like that tweet real quick.
I mean, there's so many of them. Like, there's how many colors?
Just those 3, and then
what?
the
red.
So red, white,
yeah, white,
and then black.
White. You're actually a lot of color, and the white one.
Did you see the and then
Stormtrooper? White.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be an actual thing. I think I'm more in on this one. I'm not gonna lie. This would be cool.
Yeah, that one would be cool.
Someone, you got the Iowa State fans that are obsessed with the tertiary blue or whatever it's called, and then they posted this. I was like, that's disgusting.
Right, we might as well just get we might as well get a purple in there at that point.
I'm like, no, this is where I draw the line.
Yeah,
I'd rather these be fake if this means this is legit.
Yeah.
But no, I'm telling you that if these get released,
Brock's buying 5.
It's game over. We're getting a Rocco jersey, man.
He's gonna get a Becht on the back, and he's gonna just like scratch it out and write Beirman on it.
No. I'm gonna put Coach Beck on there. Shout out the battle.
Oh, here we go. I can't believe I am so surprised.
By the way, for those that didn't, Brock's 2 minutes of talking about XFL, or I guess the UFL now.
We somehow got to the UFL on the Final Four podcast.
But as my earbud falls out, what time is it? It's
Time for you to
11:30
get a
at night.
watch.
It's 11:30 at night, man. This is why.
What?
This is how we get onto random
Yeah, this
tangents.
is what
But
happens.
so back to the Battlehawks. They take a lead with like 40 something seconds left, and the announcers go, "Well, the kicker for Michigan hasn't kicked a field goal since high school," and I'm like,
And then Brock texts me, "Oh, this guy hasn't kicked a field goal since high school. This is easy money."
No, no, that is not what I said. We're going back here. I gotta find this because I think I sent it in all caps.
Basically, what happened, it was like if you read the text chain, it's basically like Brock just slowly being like, "Yes, this guy really doesn't have the leg." It turns out he might. I'm getting really scared.
Here it is. Battlehawks take the lead with 49 seconds left. Come on. Michigan kicker has not attempted a field goal since high school. I swear if we lose off of a field goal.
Here we go.
And then you said, this is UFL. Anything is possible. And then I say, I swear, 64-yarder. If he makes this, blank. He has the range.
Yes,
Nervous
nervous
emoji. Thank goodness for the timeout. Now I don't feel good about this.
Yep.
You gotta be ducking kidding me.
And he banged it.
And all you said is U.F.L.
This is the UFL, baby.
And you said, and I just said goodbye, world. And you said it was always the UFL.
It was always the UFL.
So
to crush Brock's heart.
I will say this again. If you cheer for Iowa State, the Arizona Cardinals, or the St. Louis Battlehawks, stop. Because I cheer for them, and you're just guaranteed sadness when it comes to special teams.
I will say, special teams, special players, special plays. But I feel like Brock is probably...
I'm cursed.
Yeah, but you're also probably the only fan that is like that type of fan with all three of those teams. I don't think there's many.
What do you mean?
Like, repeat your teams you just said.
Oh, shut up.
I don't think there's many of that combo of teams fans around the world. I think you're going to struggle to find.
I would make a joke and say like, "Oh, look at you being an Iowa State." Well, not really anymore. Iowa State Seahawks person. Fight on. Sorry.
Fight on.
But then I forgot. I know I have a friend that's actually a Seahawks and Iowa State fan, so I can't say anything.
Seahawks. I don't know how we got on this topic. Anyways, back to the Final Four. I'm taking UConn. I'm taking the UConn square 2-piece side McChicken UConn ×2.
I almost gave you the bird. I apologize. Anybody that caught that, I apologize. Because that's exactly what I got too. I got UConn winning it all.
The double Max and Brock's double. The double special. That should be like a boost if we had DraftKings partner. That'd be like a boost to the 515 Sports Podcast.
Full disclosure, I
double
can't
boost. I don't either, but I see that around all the time with ESPN having it, and some of those guys having like partnerships with it. They just have like a name for their pick. Max and Brock 2-piece special. UConn squared.
Full disclosure, I can't.
Full disclosure,
I'm just doing it for
left,
obvious reasons.
Left hand up.
Oh, sorry.
That's commander. That's the commander team. I mean, we are all right. We're all over the place.
It's 11:38
all right
at night.
So Final Four, lots of good games will be happening. We're both taking UConn twice, both men's side, women's side. 2004, 2014, 2024. History repeats itself. Me and Brock both on UConn.
We'll have another episode out this week as well.
We will have another episode out this week. Hint at that episode. No Context 515 Sports Podcast. All right. That's all we got on this episode. Myself, Brock Beirman, signing off. Peace.